There's a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, says that I did not come except to perfect good manners. So, what does it mean by good manners? What we understand by manners in general is when we say someone has manners, they are polite and they do things according to what is acceptable and respectable in a society. And manners is usually about putting others first before oneself. This is the general meaning, and unfortunately we find many people do the opposite of that. For example, example of good manners is, for example, if someone arrives to a lesson late, someone with good manners will open the door quietly, walk across the room quietly, and take a seat in any place and not speak or disturb anyone, because they know that the teacher needs to concentrate, so they will not talk to the teacher at that time, even to just say, oh, I am sorry that I'm late. This is not actually from their politeness. They will consider other people as well, that people they're trying to concentrate and listen to this lesson, so they're not going to say to do things that's going to distract a lot from the lesson. People with bad manners, on the other hand, they're more likely to open a door with a loud bang and make an announcement about why they are late and they're so sorry. Then they'll make a fuss about where to sit and the chair, and maybe talk for 15 minutes, and that will all take time from the lesson. And this is one example of bad manners, but it's also related to our thinking. And there's some sayings that al-aql, intelligence, the person with intellect and intelligence thinks of others before themselves. So an intelligent person, someone who thinks and looks widely at situations, they will look at how their behavior affects others. For example, maybe someone's child wants to eat crisps in the back of the mosque. And this happened to me once in Ramadan. I was in the mosque and there were, the whole mosque was quiet for some time. I think it was on Jummah day and they were doing the khutbah. So just the khatib was talking, the preacher. He was giving his speech on Friday, and maybe one child happened to be hungry at that time, and someone with good manners would tell their child to wait, not to eat in the mosque in Ramadan when everyone's fasting, and on the Jummah time when everyone's trying to listen to this khutbah, to give them a bag of crisps and just sit and eat with loud noises of eating crisps, and the whole room is fasting. This is an example of bad manners, and unfortunately it seems that many Muslims, many of us, I am Muslim, and many of us, we're not adhering to this example of manners. We're not actually putting other people first. And sometimes when I point this out to other people as well, they say that, well, other people should just accept. They say, for example, if someone's going to the khutbah, they should, that means that they will listen regardless of whether someone comes in the door, banging the door, or people's children are eating crisps. The thing is, it's not the point if someone can listen or not. The point is that we should look at our behavior and not disturb other people, because, for example, maybe someone does want to listen to this khutbah and they are trying, but they can't do that if people are eating crisps very noisily and people are banging the door and people are just shouting over the top or whatever, doing whatever they feel like. You know, part of having civilization and manners and politeness is, you know, considering the people around us. I mean, when we're in a society, when we're with other people, it's only logical that we think about the other people. When we are by ourselves in our room, yes, we can do whatever we want, but when we're outside, when we're with people, we have to consider the other people around us. So, for example, we don't say whatever we want to say, or even we don't ask whatever we want to ask. I mean, sometimes I find it very strange that people, they want to ask questions to other people, and they don't like the same question to be asked to them. For example, many times I hear women, they'll ask another woman, "How old are you?" And they know fully well that, especially women, do not like this question. And they will even say so. They say, "Yes, we don't like this question. We don't like to be asked, but just I want to ask this question." But the thing is, if you would not like to be asked this question because of the strange ideas and the bad ageist ideas or whatever, or you just don't feel comfortable to answer this question, think about other people and don't ask them. You know, they feel put on the spot and they're not comfortable with this question, so don't make them feel bad. Don't ask these questions. Don't ask people about their weight, for example. Don't tell people that you've put on weight. You know, maybe someone, they know themselves if they put on weight. Or if someone did not ask you, there's no need to tell someone that they put on weight, for example. Um, and talking about behind people as well. I mean, if we want to learn about what are the good manners and how to behave, the main thing is the Quran. I mean, the Quran actually came to perfect people's manners and the way of behaving. And if we don't understand the Quran or how to act on it, we can look at the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Because the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was described by his wife Aisha radiallahu anha as a walking Quran. He implemented the Quran in his life. Um, so he is the best example of manners and how we should be behaving and how we should be getting on with people. Because if we want good relationships with people, if we want to have to gain their trust and to get on with others and for them to respect us, then we should deal with people, all people, with good manners and treat people in the way that we want to be treated. I mean, this is also a saying of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that, you know, treat others in the way that you would like to be treated. So if you don't want to be asked certain questions, don't ask the same questions to other people because they will most likely also not like that question. I mean, some people are not comfortable, for example, saying where they were before they saw you or where they're going to go. And it's not necessarily that they're doing something bad or they've been to a bad place, but they just don't want to say where they're going. They don't have a real need to say. And maybe they're going to do something that um, it's like a secret, but it's not for a bad reason. There could be many reasons why a person does not want to say something or tell other people things, and it's not necessarily bad. It's just that they don't want to say that. And I mean, even some people have a good intention to cover things up. For example, they want to surprise someone with something beneficial or good, or they want to do a good deed. They want to visit an old lady, for example. And they don't want to tell everyone what they're doing because they don't want to be boastful and they don't want to show off. So, I mean, even for myself, sometimes I don't like the question, how much Quran have you memorized, for example? Because to me, this is something that's supposed to be between myself and Allah. So I don't like to just show off that I've learned so much of the Quran and I've memorized this and that. It's okay. It's not a bad question. I mean, people they ask they out of interest, but some people they have reasons why they don't want to answer something, and the reason sometimes is a good reason. It's not a bad reason. So we should respect other people. And unfortunately, I see some people they try to insist. They think it's their right to know everything about someone, and I've heard this many times. For example, um, you know, according to adab in Islam, if someone is studying or learning something, it's not from the good manners to interrupt them because they're trying to learn something, they're trying to memorize, for example. So at that time, it's not good to go and ask someone a question, especially something not important. But there are many people, maybe they're ignorant of this, so they'll go and straight away ask someone something. When I do not reply, they say that that's disrespectful to them because they think that they are the most important. It's very important to answer them and their question. If you didn't answer it, it means you didn't respect them or someone. But if we take this method in our lives, no one will be able to achieve anything much. I mean, for example, if every time we sit down and we try to study and we try to learn, and we have to answer these unimportant questions because people say it's disrespectful not to answer, most people are not going to learn anything much in their lives. They'll just be answering unimportant questions, where they were, what they were doing. Um, so, but for this reason, we should think about, okay, firstly, is this question important? And isn't it more important, for example, this person is trying to memorize the Quran. They're trying to memorize some sayings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be on him, or they're studying medicine, for example. They want to be a big doctor. If you go and interrupt them, maybe they're not going to achieve their goals. Maybe you know, they will lose their concentration. So just wait a bit. And I mean, the Sahaba, they had really good manners when they were dealing with people on these issues. So they did not want to disturb other people. They did not want to um, take their time. They were afraid of offending people and or annoying them or coming at a specific time when it's not appropriate. For example, I I've read about Ibn Abbas, one of the narrators of Hadith. He used to sit outside the house of certain people when he wanted to hear Hadith, and he'd sometimes sit a long time, maybe hours, or a long time to wait for this person to come out of the house, because he was afraid to disturb them. He did not want to knock the door and disturb this person. I mean, nowadays you'll find many people, they will knock the door, and if you did not answer, they will bang it harder. And then in the end, they will just shout that why you're not answering the door. And then they'll call you 20 times on the phone, maybe. And then they'll knock on the window, and they will not go. They will not they will not take take the hint that at this time it's not appropriate. I mean, maybe at that time someone's not well, they're very tired, they're dealing with some big problem in the house, or they're just not ready for seeing people at that time. We should respect the times and the self of other people as well, because certain times people just they can't deal with people at that time. For whatever reason, they feel tired. They they feel even sad or depressed about something. Maybe some problem happened with them, and they're thinking about this problem. So at that time, they don't want to see people, or they don't want to see someone specifically, or whatever. For this reason, in Islam, doing things like, for example, if you want to visit the house of someone, it's polite to knock 3 times, but these 3 times should be, you should try and imagine that maybe someone is praying or something. So give the time that so it would take for someone to pray, for example. So, for example, if you knock the door and then you try and imagine that maybe they're praying and maybe just now they started to pray, how long would this take? Maybe 5 minutes or something like that, 5 minutes. Some people might take longer, but give it some time, maybe 5 minutes, and then knock again. And then also do the same thing to imagine that they are praying. Because, obviously, if someone's praying, they can't answer the door. And then knock a third time. And if someone does not answer the third time, we're told to go to go and leave the place. This is from a hadith, and this is from the politeness. So this was the way that how people used to deal with things before. They used to think properly that, okay, maybe someone could be praying. Maybe someone might not want to answer the door. Maybe whatever reason. So you knock 3 times, giving time for someone to answer. And then when you see that they're still not answering, then it means that this is not a good time. So just go and try another time, perhaps. But nowadays, most people don't abide by these things. They'll knock and knock and knock and knock. And someone could be praying and it just interrupts their prayer. They can't concentrate. Someone's shouting through the window, shouting through the door, banging the door, calling on the phone. They think they are the most important person. I mean, even more important than praying sometimes. So this is the kind of problems that we have when we're not following the religion, and also we're not using our minds. I mean, Islam teaches us to use our minds and to try and think about other people and to consider other people, how they would feel, for example, if we did something, how if we say something, or how if we treat them in a certain way, how would they feel? How would they react to that? I mean, if we were in the same situation, would we like that? I mean, do we like someone to call us 20 times on the phone in 1 minute when we're in a meeting, for example? Or does it make us feel stressed? Or do you feel annoyed when people have their mobile phones on in their mosque and you're praying and the mobile phone goes off? It's very easy to just switch off the mobile phone. I mean, these are small issues, but it's just a general idea that people think that other people should tolerate them rather than they should actually be thinking of the other people and not doing things to annoy people. I mean, it's not logical to just think that you can do annoying things, you can just take the rights of other people and you can just walk all over them and do whatever you want and they just have to accept. That's very arrogant, and it's not from the Muslim personality to have this kind of arrogance. I mean, we're supposed to be humble and we're supposed to be compassionate and kind and have these kind of qualities. And at the same time, we have patience, and patience will help us to deal with these manners. I mean, when we have patience, we'll be able to wait for a bit. If someone's not answering the door, they're not answering the phone, or we have to wait to a specific time to speak to someone, for example, or someone's told us, um, for example, you came late to your class and the teacher does not want you to enter so that you don't disturb the other students. They tell you wait outside. So this requires some patience as well, to wait outside when you want to enter. So, I mean, if you did not want to have to wait outside, this is one reason why we should try to be on time for our appointments, for our lessons, and so forth. This is also from good manners. I mean, missing appointments, being late, this is like disrespecting other people. So all of this is from bad manners. Not keeping your promise when you promise someone. Sometimes maybe you think that it's not important, but this promise was something that, was very big to the other person. And maybe not keeping your promise has put them in a big difficulty. And maybe turning up late for someone, especially people who are very busy. They have many things to do in that day, and they give you some time from their time, and then you just turn up late. Maybe they don't have time to see you, and then you don't have the right to be angry with them because you came late. But some people will come late and they will be angry that they are not seen. But they had the time, but they didn't come at the right time, and people maybe can't see them after that. Someone like a doctor, or someone who has many appointments, maybe they can't see them after that time because they have many other appointments. So for this reason, we have to try and always think about our behavior, how it will affect other people, and the possibilities that might be in the lives of other people. For example, like I said about being late, sometimes we assume, and I mean, even it's happened to me sometimes. Maybe you assume someone doesn't have much to do, or they're just in the house, so it doesn't really matter if you come late. But actually, you don't know what's in the person's life, or what they have to do after 1 hour, for example. Or just someone, they have specific things. They've already have plans. You can't just you decide what's their plan. If we're dealing with another person, we have to go by what you know obviously not just them, but like a compromise. Like, they've given you this time, so this is part of their plan. If you accept it, then keep with that. If you can't, make another time. But we can't just assume that people are just free just to see us, and they have nothing else in their life. And if they don't see us, or they don't answer us, or they don't do as we like, we have the right to be angry with them. So these are the kind of problems that I'm seeing, and I feel around being around people. A lot of people have these kind of issues. You know, they're not thinking about their behavior, how it's affecting other people. And even basic things that, you know, talking about things that other people find disgusting or embarrassing or something like that. If you know that this kind of subject area is not an area that people like to listen to, then you don't need to tell other people about it. Some people are not comfortable to hear about things to do with the bathroom, for example, about body parts, about private issues, even complaining about family or complaining about other people. Many people are not comfortable to listen to this, and it's just not polite to do that. And I mean, obviously, as well, if you're complaining about family, complaining about friends, complaining about people, um, I mean, do you have the right to do that? And is there really a purpose for that? Because backbiting and slandering people is not from the character of a Muslim, and the Quran asks us not to do that. We're not supposed to falsely accuse people or slander people or backbite people. I mean, only if someone is trying to regain their rights. For example, someone has taken their rights from them, and they want to go to the they want to go to the court. They want to take this person to the court, and they want to make a case. because this person has taken their rights. In this case, yes, okay, you can talk about this issue with someone who can deal with that, like a lawyer or like, uh, the judge or something like this. But just talking, I mean, people say they do it, they want to feel comfortable, they want to calm down, but at the same time, do people want to really listen to that? And is it okay to really talk about people? This is again going back to the fact that we have to think about other people. Anything that has anything to do with other people, we have to consider them. So we can find other ways to calm down without having to slander anyone. I mean, even we can, if we really want to talk about something, we can just say that something bad happened today or something, without going into all the details or some, when we know that this is not a subject that people feel comfortable with, then try and stay away from these things. Um, the same thing with swearing, the same thing with insulting people. All of this, we should avoid it as much as possible. And obviously insulting people and harming people, this will take from our good deeds as well. So the answer to all of this is, if we want to gain the good manners, and we we want to be polite and gain the good manners and have the Islamic personality and know how to behave, we have to learn how our Prophet ﷺ behaved in different situations. For example, he would try his best to make other people feel good and well. He would meet people with a smiling face, for example, not with a frowning face and straight away complaining about all the things that has gone wrong in his life or in that day, to make everyone else feel bad. He would take care. We're told in the hadith that um, he would often have a smiling face, and he'd recommend people to meet each other with a smiling face, because this is it's like a charity to smile at someone, because it's like catching. If someone smiles at another person, they feel better. People feel better when someone smiles at them. I mean, if someone sits and frowns at you, you're not going to feel very comfortable with that person. They're sitting and frowning and looking really angry. You wonder, okay, why are they like that? You would not feel very comfortable or good around them. So it's recommended to be smiling, to greet people with smiling, um, and to be positive, and to give people um, good advice, and to to say the good words, and to also to have a good appearance, and obviously, yeah, like meet people with a good appearance, clean clothes, smiling face, um, and saying nice words and kind things to people, making them feel better about their day and making them feel valued. Because nowadays we find a lot of people, they're feeling lonely, a lot of people, they feel isolated, and a lot of people feel not happy. So these kind of behaviors, that you know just simple things, just smiling, I mean, it doesn't take much, it doesn't cost anyone anything, and visiting people, and um, just asking about people. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to take a long time. Actually, from the good manners as well is not to take a long time. If you're visiting someone or something, you have to think about their time and their day. Maybe they don't want you in their house for the whole day, for example. You can go for half an hour, 1 hour, or something like that. Talk with them and make them feel good, and then leave it for another time, uh, rather than make them feel tired or staying for like 10 hours and overnight, and maybe you're still there after 1 week. So in essence, the way, if we want to gain good manners, we should learn about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be on him, how he recommended us to behave with other people, and we also use our minds to think about how we are with others and how our behavior affects others, or our speech, how we appear to other people, and do they feel comfortable with us or not, and you know are we causing some sort of harm or disturbance to other people, even in a small way. I mean, people, they think it's not a big deal to slam the door when they're going in the house or going to their school or something. But slamming the door, it's kind of annoying behavior, and we should not do that, because you don't you don't know what people are doing, if they're studying, or maybe they just have a headache or they're tired or something. They don't want to hear doors slamming. So even if you are angry or something like that, there's no need to slam doors or to throw things or something like this. Just think of other people that they don't want to have to listen to this or to see things flying through the air, something like that. Just consider other people, and if we all did this, we would live in a lot better society. If we all thought about how we are with other people, and if we thought about what can benefit them, for example, um, for example, that someone is lonely or sad, that if you visit them, they'll feel happy. So this is a good deed to do. This is an example as well of the good manners, that you think about the other people and put them first. So visiting someone and asking about them, um, and and one of the other thing about good manners is asking permission if we want to do something as well. One of the best things, because sometimes we don't actually know if how our behavior will affect someone, or if they're gonna be annoyed, or whatever reason. It's just good manners to just ask things. For example, may I pick this up? May I use your pen? For example, rather than just taking it. It shows respect. Or may I ask you a question? For example, you want to ask a question. It's not a problem if you ask, can I ask this question? Because you're not sure if it's going to be an embarrassing question for them or annoy them somehow. So you just ask, may I ask you this question? But if they tell you that, I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable to answer this question, or I'm sorry, I can't lend you my pen, or I'm sorry, I can't see you today, then in these times we should just accept that and respect other people. And this is the way that we can deal with people in the best way and have good manners. And when we have good manners, we will improve our relationships with other people, and they're going to respect us, and maybe they will treat us with good manners, maybe. And hopefully we can have a better society, and we don't want to be an annoyance for other people, and at the same time we don't want other people to annoy us too. So this is the way to deal with people in society, and to be respectable people, and to develop the Islamic character as well.